Welcome back, everybody. My name's Predator54, aka Adam, coach of the Mid-Chesney Park Slowpokes, and today I bring you my draft analysis for UPA Season 2. This is Dashing Reptiles Ubers League. I was glad to be invited and participate in this season. A few things. We draft 10 to 12 Pokemon for 150 points total. And we have a 50-point budget for 2 Ubers. We cannot exceed that. This season they allow Tropicos to Terra, but it can be the only captain you have. So that's definitely interesting. I don't think that's well worth the investment. This league's not item clause. All the Ogre Pawns are type locked if they are Terra. And it's definitely interesting. But the way they're doing it this season is you have a tier value and then you have a Terra point value tax that's assigned to the Pokemon that is basically judgment based. For example, like Gothitelle is normally 14 points. To Terra Captain it's 22. So it costs 8 more points extra to Terra, which is definitely interesting. I can't remember the draft spot I was in. Oh yeah, I was 15th out of 16 coaches. So this was definitely incredibly interesting. So let's see what we can get. So it finally came to being my turn, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, somebody already took Kieran White, which I really wanted. Zacian was still on the board. Both Garatinas were still on the board. I was a little torn. But I decided, you know what, let's have some fun. We got the fuck off monster that is Kyurem Black. Built-in mold breaker. This is Dragon and Ice. Gets access to Bolt Shock. Gets access to Freeze, Dry, Earth Power, Flash Cannon. Dragon Dance, Scale Shot, Icicle Spear. Basically being able to ignore abilities is incredibly good. And yeah, I actually want to see what this Mon can do. This can force unaware Mons to have to run ability shield to just not let me set up on them. Just so the unaware stays in attacks. This ignores like Volt Absorb, Lightning Rod, basically any absorb ability has to run a ability shield to block that as well, which is still incredibly good. KB, you're not exactly the fastest thing in the world, but 170 base attack and 120 special attack is pretty damn good. You even get access to Hyper Voice now and Noble Roar, so you can actually run Throat Spray sets. You can run whatever you want. Dragon Dance, loaded dice sets are going to pop off. The world is your oyster with this Pokemon. And it's actually pretty tanky too in the right situations, and then you're able to set up and then just spam after that. All in all, I look forward to using this Mon, and we are going to hop on into Mon number 2. Alright, so I may have forgot to mention that Kyurem Black was 20 points. So it came back to me. The wheel picked a power combo. They picked up the Mon that I decided not to get immediately after this, and it was definitely interesting. And they picked up their first Terra Captain almost instantly. But it came back to me, and for 21 points, I decided, let's get the biggest bird. Let's try Lugia out. Granted, it lost Toxic. It lost a few things. Recover got nerfed. Doesn't get stored power, which is kind of a shame. But it did get buffed. It gets Psychic Noise now, and it gets Scale Shot. So it has a way of boosting its speed, so it does not have to rely on Tailwind to double its speed now. Which is actually pretty damn good. This thing gets a lot of coverage galore, gets both physical and special side. Aeroblast is just actually looks pretty damn clean in this game. Don't know why it does a little twirl when it attacks, but definitely an interesting mon. Base 110 speed, 130 spadef, and 100 defense, I believe, on this monster behemoth. So it can tank a hit, and I believe it's 90 in both offenses, and fat as hell in defense. Granted, this used to have toxic. People would run pressure, toxic, sub, roost, and like just stall. But you can't do that now without toxic. But I don't like that version of Lugia. I like straight offensive. I like support. And this even gets access to screens. All in all, it's a pretty good mod. And I'm kind of curious on what this thing can actually do. It's my first time actually using this. I did not use it at all in Sword and Shield or in any previous gen. So, this is a learning experience. And I must say, the shiny is absolutely beautiful. I love how this looks. But all in all, that is mod number 2. We are going to hop on into mod number 3. Alright, so it came back to me and I decided, you know what? It might be time to take a Terra Captain. So I ended up taking Quackable, my original starter in this game, aka Quack Queen, Captain Quack Sparrow, whatever you want to call this thing, this flamboyant, whatever the fuck you're trying to be. Yeah, I kind of got this to troll the commissioner a little bit because it's like his favorite thing. Like, he is obsessed with this thing. Like, overly obsessed. But, yeah. For 14 points, I drafted this, and for 6 additional points, I made it a Terra Captain. So, the way Terra works in this league is it's open Terra, but at team preview or before the battle starts, we tell our opponent what our Terras are. But this thing having access to both Rapid Spin and Aqua Step to boost its speed, gets access to Aqua Jet, gets access to Knock Off, Flip Turn, Triple Axle now, Ice Spinner to remove terrain. It got happily buffed in the DLC. So it's going to be a little bit of a monster. That and Moxie is broken if you can damage Spiral and there's not an unaware mon in front of you. This thing pops off, it literally just goes. But let's see if we can get a little bit of trolling done. But that is our first Terra Captain. We will hop on into mon number 4. For mon number 4, I waited oh so patiently for the chance to be able to snag this thing. For 9 points and 4 points to Terra, I finally grabbed Terra. I am so happy, so ecstatic I have this thing. And look at this thing. Look at how beautiful this fucking thing is. Torterra, you sexy, sexy turtle. Yes, cringe, I know. But this thing is a behemoth and a half. And I look forward to using this thing. Shell Smash, beautiful. It has shell armor. Can't be crit. That is absolutely amazing. You can run Bullet Seed, loaded dice with this, Rock Blast. Headlong Rush is absolutely amazing on it. If you just want the extra damage and don't want to run Earthquake. All in all, Torterra is a phenomenal mon, and I can't wait to see what this thing actually does. I want to see what it can do in an Ubers League. I might as well go big or go home with my god. Look at the Scorpion. Scorpion. Look at this beautiful bastard sleeping. I'm in love. I would just really want to see both physical and special what this thing can do after a Shell Smash. And I also have it to where I can run a jetpack. I I think I drafted a copycat mon too. Well, I'm kind of spoiling. I won't say what it is. But there is a mon on my draft that does get copycat. So I can pass it to it. Click copycat. And double my attack, speed, and special attack. All in all, that seems like a lot of fun. But anyways, let's hop on into mon number 5. Alright. For round number 5, I decided, you know what? Let's get one of the best hazard setters in the game. Toxic Debris is incredibly fucking annoying this gen. And it's just free. Any physical attacking move or contact move in general just sets Toxic Debris on my opponent's side of the field. There's an interesting interaction though. Rapid Spin will still remove the toxic spikes. I don't know why it's coded that way, but it's definitely interesting. Glamora also gets spikes, T-spikes. Toxic gets access to corrosion as well. Being able to poison, steel, and poison types is incredibly good. It kind of helps with all the well, a lot of the Ubers do not want to get poisoned, basically. So if you get set up and get this thing spiraling, it goes. This gets Rock Polish, Meteor Beam, gets access to Dazzling Gleam, Flash Cannon to hit, well, what else is weak to steel? Opposing rock types, it gets Earth Power, it gets Energy Ball, all in all, phenomenal. This even gets access to Sand Comet and Spiky Shield. If you really, really want to be that Scumlord, you can run that. Basically, you click Toxic or T-Spikes, trap the thing in front of you, click with Stantom, click Spiky Shield. Now they're taking internally damage and the poison damage. Granted, I will probably never run that set because even I'm not a fan of it. But all in all, Glamora does a lot of work. This is also another form of hazard removal besides Quackable. This gets Mortal Spin, which allows me to poison the opposing Pokemon and remove hazards on my side. That is very, very good. But that is it for Glamora. We will hop on into Mon number 6. Alright, for Mon number 6, and for 7 points, I decided, you know what? Let's try something new. Let's do Vikavolt. We got a Sticky Web setter, a phenomenal special attack stat. Granted, it's not the fastest thing in the world, but Vikavolt in Trick Room hits like a fucking truck. This gets access to Energy Ball, Flash Cannon for Fairies, even gets access to Poison Jab. I wish this thing got U-turn, so it didn't have to rely on Volt Switch and Baton Pass. But all in all, it's still a good Pokemon. Like, look at this thing. Being able to set sticky webs for my team is absolutely massive. If you can see what my speeds are for now, I need a little bit of help. So sticky webs is good support. Granted, this doesn't get Roost or Toxic like it did last gen. I believe it still maintains Iron Defense, and I believe it still gets Agility, so you can run the possibility of the Weakness policy set 1 week. Well, in all, oh, it's praying when it sweeps. That's cute. It's so adorable. But all in all, good special attacker. Decently bulkier than you think it is. Levitate for the ground immunity. All in all, Vikavolt does what it does. And it's going to be a good support piece for my team. And I look forward to seeing what it does. Alright, let's hop on into the next mon. Alright, for pick number 7 of the draft and for 14 points. Might have been a tiny bit pricey, but it is an Uberless league, so it has a lot more use. We have Grimmsnarl making its return. At this point, I didn't have a Dark type, I didn't have a Fairy type, so I figured, let's get a little of both. So, this thing gets access to Screens, gets access to T-Wave, Trick, gets access to Parting Shot, Fake Out, gets access to Sucker Punch, Spirit Break, Play Rough, all of the elemental punches, Drain Punch, Stomping Tantrum, Trailblaze now, which is a excellent buff. If you wanted to run bulk up Trailblaze, you can boost your speed. You can hit the times 4 weak mons that are to grass really hard. This even gets Nasty Plot and Draining Kiss and Dark Pulse and Focus Blast, which is incredibly good. That can come in clutch, but mainly it's here to be an offensive tool, support, or set screens, and well worth the value. And I want to see what this can do in Ubers to see if it was worth the points. This is a total flop, then I wasted 14 points. It's as simple as that. But Grimmsnarl, you haven't done me wrong before. I've had you in a championship team. You will put in the finest of work in playoffs, and hopefully you put in the finest of work for me again. I do not know if this guy even sleeps. He's just sitting here staring at me. And, oh, yeah, he does. All he does is, well, okay, he sleeps like that. That's definitely interesting. But anyways, that's Grimmsnarl for 14 points. We will hop on into the next Pokemon. Alright, for round number 8, I decided let's pick up our last Terra Captain for 13 points, and for 6 additional points, equaling out to 19, we ended up getting Terra Ceruledge. Oh my, I am excited for this one. Holy shit, you're fast. Good lord. Okay, I was not expecting this to be this fast and Naruto run. And the blades come out. Ceruledge, a bulky, offensive ghost and fire type with access to Poltergeist, gets access to Bitter Blade, which is a fire type Drain Punch, which is incredibly good. This gets Shadow Sneak, Close Combat, Dragon Claw, gets access to Shadow Claw. I believe in... Did I say Dragon Claw already? Yeah, I did. This gets access to Will-O-Wisp. This gets access to Bulk Up, Swords Dance, All Null. Can set up a lot, hits super fucking hard at neutral, and yeah, being able to have open Terra and not have my opponent know what's coming until terrain preview is incredibly good. This gets access to Flash Fire, which gives me a fire immunity, except for if I'm facing Reshiram, I'd have to run Ability Shield to not have Turbo Blades override me. This also gets access to Weak Armor. Any physical move drops my defense by 1 and speed up by 2. If I do that with the Sword Stance, now I am a setup sweeper. I'm +2 speed, +2 attack, and I'm smacking things in the face. I really want to see what this thing could do now that it's Terra. I had it as on a previous draft and couldn't Terra, and I struggled with it. But now with Terra, I might actually be able to get it to work. Hello, Bulbasaur. Why you smell it? Go away. Well, all in all, that is my 3rd Terra Captain, and it was hopefully well worth the points. We will hop on into Mon number 9. Alright, so originally for pick 9, I took the Dunsparce, but I kind of didn't like how it ran, and I kind of needed the speed control, so during Grace, I ended up dropping the Dunsparce for the monster that is Porygon 2. Who is the goodest duck? You are such a... Oh, it wobbles. Oh my god, that spazzes out like crazy. Jesus. Okay, that is pretty cool. Look at you just float there and you just bounce back and forth. So this thing can be bulky both in physical defense and Spadef, depending on whatever you need. This gets access to T-Wave, Foul Play, Trick Room, Trick. Gets access to phenomenal abilities in Trace, Adaptability, and Download. Download is interesting. It's based off my opponent's defenses. If one stat's lower than the other, it basically gets a attack boost or a special attack boost. Trace allows me to copy an opponent's ability, and Adaptability just makes it to where I just hit very, very hard with Tri-Attack. Granted, I run Trace and Analytic over everything else, but Porygon 2 is a defensive tank, allows me to have Trick Room for Vikavolt, for my Torterra, to just hit super hard and change the momentum of speed. All in all, this is well worth the 8 points, and I can't wait to see what it does. I could either be an annoying sack of shit, or I can actually do a lot of damage with download. Nobody expects an offensive P2. They mostly expect the defensive one, so I could catch people off guard. But we'll see how this goes. Look at his little wobbles. Wobbity, wobbity, wobbity. Boop. But anyways, that is P2. We will hop on into Mon number 10. Alright, for pick number 10, I decided, you know what, for 10 points, let's get Tinkaton. Mold Breaker's very good in Ubers, especially since I can ignore abilities like Unaware. I can ignore Goldango as good as Gold and be able to T-Wave it, which is pretty good. All in all, Tinkaton does a lot more than you think it does. I know it has underwhelming attack, but after a Sword Stance, it actually hits pretty damn hard. This gets access to knockoff Gigaton Hammer, Ice Hammer, which allows me to one-hit KO Mon like Dragonite through multi-skill if I land the hit, which is incredibly good. This being base 94 speed is definitely a lot faster than people think it is for a Steel type. Granted, Game Freak missed an opportunity to give a Pokemon with a big fuck-off hammer. Oh my lord. Higher attack with less speed. Could have made it into Mawile. Look at that little adorable thing sleep. This gets access to Stealth Rock stopping, Tantrum, T-Wave, Encore to be annoying for my opponent. This gets access to Play Rough as well. Bulldoze to lower speed, Rock Tomb to lower speed. All in all, it can do quite a bit. It even gets access to Rain Dance in order to turn off the sun, which is definitely interesting. Granted, it's not exactly the most offensive, but Tinkaton can put in work. I can't wait to see what this thing actually does, and I look forward to bringing it to a few games and seeing if it pops off. What's the worst that can happen? It just gets blown back? Probably. Being this is my Steel type, I know I'm double fairy at this point, and I honestly don't care. All the most of the Ubers are dragons. Okay. Hi. We're gonna play a little bit of a game. But anyways, that is Tinkaton for 10 points, and we will hop on into the final Mon of the draft. Alright, to finish off my team, well, in Grace I picked this up because I had 4 points left, and I wanted to say, fuck it. We brought back the little friend that could, the bird of justice. The fuck around and find out, flap until you go, bird is here. Gets Final Gambit, Tailwind, gets Parting Shot, gets access to Taunt, Encore, gets access to Guts, gets access to Sheer Force, Hustle. All very good abilities. Hustle boosted Aerial Ace actually hits like a damn truck, especially with the Choice Band. All in all, solid Mon for 4 points, and can do a lot more than people think it does. But they don't give it the justice because they think it's a shitter Pokemon. To me, it's not. This Mon and UNPL had more kills than my Excadrill. Let's wrap our heads around that. This little shit got 6 kills. Granted, 3 of them were by Final Gambit, 2 by Facade, and 1 by Brave Bird. I just don't care, and I suicide myself. And this thing actually hits harder than you think it does with Sheer Force, because it gets access to Air Slash, Heat Wave, gets access to like Lunge, U-Turn, Hurricane. Actually hits pretty decent. So, oh yeah, and this also gets access to Intimidate as well as an ability. So all in all, 4 abilities in one mon and 4 different mons, all the same name. I'll take it. I could be the parrots that want to fuck around and find out. But anyways, that finalizes my team. Tell me what you guys think down below. Like and subscribe if you haven't, and enjoy. And stay tuned for week number 1 that goes up next week. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.